going on, everybody? Star Wars Dad back for another video. Today we're going to be checking out Bossk Green with some of the new cards from Jump to Lightspeed. Before we get into today's video, please make sure to check out my Patreon and join even as a free member. We are building a great community there with monthly giveaways, and then please make sure to like and subscribe. It greatly appreciated, and it really does help the channel to grow. And make sure to sign up for the 4,000 subscriber giveaway, as we are getting really close to that, where I will be giving away 3 Carbonite packs to 3 lucky winners, as well as another prize, most likely like a prestige card. But to get into today's video, Bossk Green is a deck that I do think is relevant in the upcoming meta. I think the indirect damage actually does help Bossk's because it has good synergy with Bossk's pinging, and with using red and green, you get to add in cards like Allegiant Pride and the TIE Bomber, which is just one of my favorite cards. It fits my playstyle, just kind of flooding their board with indirect damage. And I love putting the TIE Bomber, attaching a Vader to it. It's one of my favorite plays against aggro decks, as you can do some really cool things with the Vader TIE Bomber. I've talked about that so many times now, but in case you haven't seen me talk about that briefly, you do the indirect damage, and then you use Vader's pinging ability to finish things off. You can sometimes get in situations where there's so much indirect damage on the board from Bossk's pinging and the indirect damage from your cards that you can, because you're able to do it again after a unit is defeated, you can either go to their base and put pressure, which is great, and I think that is underappreciated, and then you can also just kill another unit if they have another unit with 1 HP left. So it's just a very powerful. What's really great about Vader in here is that it is a great target for punishing 1, because punishing 1 oftentimes gets to attack twice because of the bounty synergy. So that is amazing, because you can use Vader to kill the thing with the bounty, and then you can attack with it again for 6 damage. So that's really sweet to get in for 12 damage in a turn. One of the cool things about this particular version. Another great thing about Vader in here is the synergy that it has with Bounty Hunter's Quarry as a pilot, because a lot of times you can just find a Kylo or a TIE Bomber or even a Punishing 1, or even the Black Sun Starfighter if you go that route in the main board. And then you can attach a Vader to it because you still have 3 resources. Let's say you used Bossk's ping ability to finish off a unit that had Bounty Hunter's Quarry. Maybe you had Dengar Bounty Hunter's Quarry turn 1, or maybe it was just a 2 HP thing and you pinged it once on turn 1. Either way, you're able to activate it and find a spaceship that you otherwise didn't have in your hand, and then all of a sudden you can get that, this Punishing 1 or that Kylo or that TIE Bomber, depending on the matchup, and put a Vader on top of it, and all of a sudden you have a 6-powered unit or a TIE Bomber that's spreading a ton of damage. So that's really cool, and obviously, like, you're not using Vader as a pilot in any matchup with yellow most of the time, unless you have like a wide board with pilots, for example, just because it's too easily to get waylaid or no good to be dead or things like that. But it still can be useful. But the other way you're using it in those matchups is just as a 7/7 on the ground. So I like it in here, but I could totally see an argument just to play like Darth Maul, like 1 to 2 copies in that spot. But it's nice to have that, things that your opponent doesn't necessarily see coming, kind of a line to play. And then, with this particular build, again, we're trying to focus on the indirect damage to get it to synergize with Bossk, so that's where adding in those cards, the purpose of this video is to see how that feels and if it makes any sense. I love Dengar in here. I played it without it. Definitely, Dengar starts with Bounty Hunter's Quarry are just nuts. Even on turn 2, like where you play, like, let's say, for example, you play a Price on Your Head turn 1, and you ping it with Bossk, then turn 2 you play Dengar plus Deathmark, right? And you immediately get to ping when you play the Deathmark for a damage, and then you get to ping again to kill a 3 HP thing with Bossk. So you're getting a Deathmark and a Price on Your Head. And Dengar just sets that up. Obviously, Bounty Hunter's Quarry is even better because you're getting free units, and it's just amazing what you can do with that. It also synergizes with the indirect damage. It's also essentially a piece of removal in here combined with your bounties because of the indirect damage. So Dengar gets a little better because you can just have a Dengar and a bounty in your hand and just wait to see how your opponent plays out the damage, and then you can use Dengar to finish things off, as well as activate a bounty. Even better if Bossk is deployed. Uh, the ramp in here is obviously very, very strong with super laser tech. Another cool thing is that you can do the indirect damage to a player. It doesn't say to your opponent, so it says to a player. So sometimes you want to do indirect damage to yourself to kill your own laser tech. Believe it or not, I think that has come into play for me a few times. And then we're using, a couple daring raids to finish things off because of the pinging. 3 Allegiant over the First Order Stormtrooper just because it so easily dies right now because of IG 2000 and Jango, and that's everywhere. So at least Allegiant out there forces them to use their Tarkin Town if they want to deal with that card. Otherwise, we get to do 2 indirect damage with the initiative. 3 Kylo's TIE Silencer, of course. It's another, just an early space presence, way to push damage, and it's a great target for Bounty Hunter's Quarry. We have a lot of good targets for Bounty Hunter's Quarry in this deck. Client is one of our good ones that we can kind of cheat in with both Bounty Hunter's Quarry and Darth Vader later on. It's cool that we are playing all the Vaders in this deck, which is fun to play. Our other pieces of removal, so we're using the 2 Daring Ray, the 2 Force Choke, and 2 Open Fire, so a little bit of everything, and then 3 Barrage to round it out. Of course, that's our best piece of removal. And, I know I've talked about Vader, the new Vader, as a lot as a pilot, but it's also a 7/7 unit on 6 resources, so that's no slouch. So that that with the barrage, that's 9 damage, and that's a a card that they have to deal with. So don't underestimate it. That's why I love double-sided cards, because early on in the game, certain matchups, it's going to be a great pilot. Other games, we're not going to use that as a pilot at all. And then some games we're going to use it as a unit because it's a strong unit at that cost. I believe it's the strongest unit in the game at that cost, if I'm not mistaken, as far as HP and power. Yeah, I think there's some ones that are 7/6s and well, Kylo's like a 6/7 that gets raid 2s, but still like 7/7 at face value is pretty strong, especially with its piloting ability. 3 Vader Star Trooper, of course, is our early ground sentinel and a good target for Vader. Punishing one, of course, gets even better in here because of the ability to synergize with the Vader pilot. Then we have 2 clients for the Bounty Hunter's Core synergy and the Darth Vader synergy later on. Because we're at the top end, we're playing the Reinforcement Walkers to gain the life and ramp into it, especially if we have those crazy ramp games with Price on Your Head and Laser Tech, where we can get into that Reinforcement Walker very, very quickly. But it's nice to have the client as a card that we can cheat out early in certain matchups. It's good against Jango. It's good against Sabine. Those super, super aggressive decks, Poe, Kazuda. It's going to be very important against those. At the top end, we have Vader. Then we have the 2 Ruthless Raider. And then 3 Darth Vaders, of course, to get everything from the top 2 rows. And just to be one of our, board replenishers and find our Sentinels, find our clients, find a Dengar plus a unit, which is really nice. Another reason that Dengar is great in here. And then to round it out and to close the game out, to gain life or to draw cards with our Reinforcement Walker. But, if you look at it like Vader, Ruthless Raider, and, OG Vader are good in their own right if we're not able to close the game out early on with the pressure and the ramp with Bossk, which we do a lot of times. We can be extremely fast in this deck because of how much pressure and we're getting on them early with different things. Our big strategy or ideal hand against like Sabine, for example, is going to be like TIE Bomber into Darth Vader, just to have a 3/7 space unit that does 3 indirect damage and pings them for 1. So it just puts them in a tough position at 25 HP. It's hard to deal with that combination and that HP. But even still, like a Kylo Darth Vader is still strong as a 6/5 pinging for 1 against them. Obviously, the punishing 1 is incredible because it's going to be a 6/7 space unit that can potentially attack twice. So, piloting Vader in those matchups is going to be super ideal. Anything with yellow, we're probably not piloting Vader. Sometimes you might take a chance and do it if it's right in the circumstances of the game. But a lot of times we're just using it as a unit in those games where it's still relevant, or it's just an easy resource decision early on if we don't have any space units at all. and we're just trying to survive or get units on the ground or bounties in play or removal. So it becomes an easy resource decision. The sideboard is still a bit of a mess. Still figuring that out. I mean, it really depends on what you expect to see. A lot of it, if you expect to see heavy Jango, then you're definitely going to want to have the Black Sun Starfighter, and you probably even want that in the main board as a card to get with both Bounty Hunter's Quarry and Vader. And then, in that case, you might want to consider taking out one of the indirect damage version cards, like the Allegiant General Pride, I would say. Just take it out altogether. I don't think it's like that impactful where it needs to be in there, but it is nice for what I was talking about with the early synergies with the damage with Bossk and the bounties. So that's probably a strong consideration. Scanning Officer, I think, is necessary if you expect to see a lot of Han. The Sabling Fang Fighter is probably most likely you just want to have that in there as just a way to expand your board and just remove big upgrades. You could also consider Traitorous. I think Traitorous is a strong card to consider. And then, Maul, I think Maul is still very, very relevant, for killing Jango, for killing Quinn. So I think that's a card that you might want to sub out one of the Vaders, the 6-cost Vaders, in the main for that. Maybe have one on the side, depending on the leader that you're up against. Palpatine, I think, is pretty necessary. Great Dragon, it's hit or take. I mean, it is kind of expensive, so you might want to focus more on ramp. So it's really the sideboard kind of really gets into like what style am I trying to play this? The particular version that I was trying to play today was more focused on indirect damage to see how much of an impact that had on the deck and how much synergy it had with Bossk. It felt really good in testing, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the only way to play this deck. You definitely could sub some things out if you don't want to be as focused on that. Uh, I definitely think Maul is a strong card in the main board regardless. I definitely think at least one copy to start off, you could sub out one of the Vaders. But yeah, the sideboard is still definitely up in the air. I think Traitorous is a strong consideration, Black Sun Starfighter, just to have that Sentinel for those heavy space opponents so that you can slow them down a little bit and just be able to, cheat that out with Bounty Hunter's Quarry and Vader. So far in testing, this deck has been very good. I think this is one of those decks that could kind of sneak in with some success. The ramp is no joke. Like you can really pop off because of that. And I think that's where its advantage comes into play. Also, the Dengar bounty synergy with the indirect damage is really strong. It puts your opponent in some weird situations. And basically, your bounties become that finishing piece of removal, especially with Dengar out, because you can do 2 damage to a unit, right? Not to mention we're playing Daring Raid and Open Fire and things like that, and Barrage. But so we're putting our opponent in situations where they really, you know, they can't make mistakes with where they put the damage. We're also putting pressure on them. We have, some good early power coming in, and then we have our advantages with the bounty. Bossk coming out pretty early. It's a sturdy unit. It's a great overwhelming barrage target, obviously. Um, and then our top end is pretty strong. So, I think I would love to hear other people playing this deck because I've really enjoyed uh, playing this deck so far, and it's been one of those decks that makes me excited that Bossk is still good because Bossk Blue doesn't feel as relevant anymore, and that was one of my top 5 decks in the past set. So it's fun to be playing Bossk in a different way, using some of these new cards, and it still being very competitive. So, but let's get into a few games so I can kind of show you how this updated version feels and how things are looking out there in the Jango meta. All right, turn 1 Allegiant. Dengar's probably gonna die. I mean, all of them are probably gonna die. You let you again. Okay. Um, yeah. Trying out different things first, Jane. Blue is garbage. All right, let go of that. Um, okay, I really like punishing 1 here if it can stick, but I don't know if it's gonna stick. I mean, Super Laser Tech's good too, because if they want to ping it, by all means, they're probably not going to, though. All right, we'll see if they ping this right away. Okay, that's definitely not bad. A bounty would be nice, like a bounty honeys. That's the one? That's exactly the one. That's so crazy. I just wish we had a 2-drop or something to squeeze in beside it. I really want to get rid of Ruthless Raider. I mean, all we're doing is pinging their shield here, which isn't great. Yeah. I think next turn we can play it alongside Punishing, or vice versa. I mean, getting the shield off isn't the worst thing. He doesn't know if we have a bounty or not, so yeah. Okay. He can Tarkent on it, that's fine. But we can Bounty Hunter's Quarry and kill him. I'm just trying to think if we should do that now. I mean, it's a free unit. Gets rid of a thing and gets us a free unit. It's not the worst thing, right? I'd rather get Punishing One, though, down. Because it gives us the ability to play Vader. And Vader can be really nuts for us, if, potentially. And also, I mean, we could also just play with Super Laser Tech and Bounty Hunter Quarry next turn. We know he's going to Tarkin Town of Legion here. It's fine. Or never mind, he's going to do that. I think that was actually a mistake. Okay, Vader. It's not. It does not make the most sense against Jango. It actually makes the least sense against Jango. Now that is an interesting pile of cards. Um, let's attack in face. Then let's go Bounty Hunter's Quarry plus price on your head into Bossk. Also, will activate Punishing One. Sneak attack. That's a good card. When it dies, deal it 3 indirect damage. And then we can ramp up. Either way, we're ramping. Trying to think. I mean, laser tech gives us double up a price on your head next turn, potentially. Do we just kill Crafty Smuggler here? I think so. Get a unit, then we play. I don't know. There's a lot of things we could do here. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we could have just played that, but it's fine. Dengar, let's just get Kylo. Okay, we got Bossk. Heat. Open fire TIE Bomber. TIE Bomber Vader is disgusting, but just not against this deck. Hope he doesn't have IG, I guess. Either way, we can get an attack off because he's not going to be able to exhaust the whole board here. Well, that's not true. If he attacks into with Starfighter into Kylo, kills it, pings Bossk, then he gets to eliminate any attacks from us this turn. Yep. Okay, so let's go just Vader as a unit. Just drop a 7/7. Let's keep the pressure on them. But that's the thing with Vader, right? It's like, we couldn't use that as a pilot in this matchup, but it's still a 7/7. We still get to ramp into it. So it still makes a lot of sense. That's one of my arguments. And then also if you're playing like Boba Yellow or whatever, Vader with sneak attack is incredible on 5 resources just to swing it for 7 damage. So he's triple dark rating. He could have anything really. He could have War Juggernaut, Ruthless Raider, Fed's Fire Spray, all the above, plus Jango. So he's gonna get in for a considerable amount of damage this turn, probably 7 or 8 damage, I would guess, depending on what he finds. I mean, Triple Dark Raid is so broken right now. Or that, okay. So he's getting in for 6. It's fine. We're getting in for 7 next turn. The great thing about Vader also is it immediately trades with Jango, but I don't think we care about that. I think we just want to go face. He's probably more worried about us outracing him at this point because we're presenting a lot of power. He's presenting 3 damage next turn, so. I mean, Vader's a big boy. Such a cool card. I love cards that have purposes early and purposes later. Those are my favorite kind of cards. Okay. Uh, we do want to get closer um, to Reinforcement Walker. Yeah, I don't think TIE Bomber is what we want anymore. That's a good turn 1 card against a lot of decks, but against deck at this stage of the game where they can spread the damage around, it's just not. Yeah, we're definitely going face. See what he does here. He might exhaust Bossk or do that. Yeah. Okay. It's fine. Um, see, he's probably going to just, yeah, I'm just claiming the initiative here. Because I'm going to put him in a situation where you either deal with Vader or Vader deals with you. Okay, right, exactly. That's what I wanted. And now Juggernaut gets less powerful. We get in for 4. Again, I don't think we need TIE Bomber. Now I'm okay with putting units back on the board and trying to just go as wide as possible to try to close out the game. Yeah, Vader did good. You don't see Jango attack into a unit very often like that and sacrifice itself. So Vader's got to be one of my favorite cards from the set. Just the things you can do with that card. Um, Definitely going face. 19. I think what we're hoping is what he doesn't get triple dark raid devastator. I think like that's our worst case scenario. He's already played 1 triple dark raid, 1 sneak attack. Sneak attack's not even broken. Sneak attack's just a good card. like the unit dies. Triple Dark Raid, it goes back to your hand, which is ridiculous. Okay. Um, we're gonna go unit first. We got Jango playing defense against us, which is interesting. Try to play another unit here. See what he does though, because if he does play a Devastator somehow, we can't now because he's only got 4 resources. But we can open fire his board, both units that he plays. Okay, that's not the greatest unit to open fire, but it's better than attacking. Is that another triple dark raid? I'm sorry, why is he at 4 resources? Oh no, I'm sorry. He attacked him with War Dragon. Okay, so are we just going to kill that, take 3? Okay, I think so. Yeah, we'll just take our indirect damage. He can ping us, that's fine. Sure, I knew that was coming. Okay. What's the bigger threat? Definitely the War Juggernaut this stage. So if we just find reinforcement walkers, barrage isn't bad, but it's just too little too late. There. So again, we're stuck with hope they don't find a triple dark raid devastator. I mean, they have used true triple dark raids now. Sneak attack's still a card. Oh, we're not resourcing anything. If he plays some weak units, that's not bad because then we can kill a couple things like Greedo or First Order Stormtrooper or something, or just that, right? Be nice to find a reinforcement walker here. Hey, look at that. Client would have been nice earlier with Vader, another card that I would have been okay finding. Okay, so reinforcement walker is pretty strong here. Gain 3 life, go to 17. They swinging for 7, 9. Go to 26. And then we claim initiative and hope they don't have another way to beat us. Yeah. He could have surprise strike too. So he could have 7, 9, get in for 12. He could so close to beating us here. No, we're just gaining 3 life. So if we're able to survive this, we win. If they're able to beat us this turn, we lose. It's basically what it comes down to. Daring Raid does what for us? Nothing. Just gotta hope for the best that he doesn't have any more triple dark raids in hand. 26 and Devastator. Has he found it all? Nope, he did not find it all. Does he have a daring raid? Oh wow, we did it. We got there. What a game. What a game. It was like a close one. Super close. Oh, Jango. Deck is crazy. Alright. Turn 1. We can go price on your head. I mean, we know they're gonna ping us. They're gonna either kill the bomber or the Dengar. Turn 2, we can go Dengar plus a bounty. So we're getting rid of Vader plus the Bomber just because Dengar at least has use. I mean, Bomber is sick. It's just all they have to do is play an Underworld unit, ping it, kill it immediately. So, like, I almost would rather not play a unit this turn. I don't want to get rid of Vader, but Cad Tarkentown's another sick deck. It just got even better. Like IG 2000 is such a nutty card. All right, let's go price on your head and ping it. So yeah, we can kill it if we go Dengar into Deathmark, which we should be able to do. So okay, we don't need two Dengars. No, thank you. Okay, we're definitely gonna kill it this turn and draw two cards. Could also play Kylo, but maybe we'll play something else. Going to Bossk next turn, which is nice. No. Um. Okay. Another price on your head. I think we're just gonna go Bossk Barrage though, right? I don't think we need price on your head anymore. I mean, it would be nice to double up, I guess. For for LOM. But yeah, I mean, we're not doubling up this turn. We're just gonna barrage. Did he? I was gonna say okay. So we deploy, barrage. We do two. Then we do 6. And we wipe the board with the Bossk. Alright, now we're cooking. I don't think we need a Legion anymore. I'd rather have Force Chokes, Kylos, and Vaders, and Barrages. Man, this... We can let one Force Choke, though, I guess. No disintegrations. Deal damage to annihilator. Oh, that doesn't do anything to Bossk. Okay. Let's go. Yeah, this is why I kept the units. Okay, sure. Well, we're not going to get the initiative, but that's okay. Alright, he does have Cad Bane next turn, but we have Barrage and Vader as options, or Barrage Force Choke. Yeah, I was gonna say we're too far ahead. So Boss, that's two good games. I mean, that's two top decks there. I would say that felt the Django one just feels nuts. I mean, let's be real. Deck is pretty busted right now, but I do like where Bossk Green is at though. But I guess this deck, what do we do? We just kind of went bounty first. Dengar bounty is nice. Dengar bounty plus all our other cool cards have great synergy with Dengar, and like Bossk does, and then our TIE Bomber Vader has synergy. So good one. All right, good looking start here. We have uh, Dengar into Bounty Hunters Quarry, which is sweet. I hate to let go of Reinforcement Walker because it's such a pivotal card in this matchup, but really in a lot of matchups. But So we're gonna go Dengar Bounty Hunter's Quarry. Then we're gonna go Phase Dark Trooper. Yeah, I think we just have to let go of Reinforcement Walker for now. Okay, so he pings, but we have the initiative, which is nice. He probably doesn't have a 1-drop either. Most likely it's a 2-drop. Interesting. No units. Okay. Did not expect that. Ooh, second Bounty Hunter's Quarry. That's sick. What would we rather have? TIE Bomber or Allegiant? Either one is good. They both have their advantages. I mean, I guess we're hoping he doesn't have Daring Raid. Let's go TIE Bomber just in case we can get lucky and find a Vader. Just for fun. Okay. Well, that's nice so far. We can almost kill this thing right now. It's a special card too. Alrighty. Hey, there's the TIE Bomber Vader. Do we want to do it? Do we want open fire? Phase Dark Trooper? Yeah. I almost think at this point it's better just to have the Vader as a unit and just let go of the dream because they probably play Waylay as yellow. It's just so much fun. It is so much fun. But these cards are better. Dengar so far has. Ouch. Okay. What's he taking here? That's interesting that he did that. I mean, we're about to get 2 units here, so. Interesting. Yeah, so one of the things about Quinlan is they don't play a lot of 1-drops. So Dengar has so far dodged the early Quinlan interaction. We're just gonna kill this. No. Yes. Okay. All right. Client is really strong. Dark Trooper punishing one is good. Um, Man, lots of good stuff. They haven't really done that much damage to us. Let's go punishing one because punishing one Vader is actually nuts too in this deck. And then let's go another spaceship. Is that a bad idea or is that a good idea? We have a Dark Trooper in our hand. Okay. Well, now he's gonna ping something, but we can play the Dark Trooper. Okay, he's pinging that. Um, we're going here. He's pinging Kylo at Tarkintown. No, he's not. We're going there. Uh, Again with the TIE Bomber. It's like this game really wants us to have Vader as it. I mean, they waylay, we lose the Vader, so it's such a waste. I'm not getting rid of Vader at this point. I think it depends on what our opponent does here. Barrage is the real card that we want, right? Well, let's go ahead and kill Sabine. I think that's smart. They could Tarkin Town Dark Trooper, I guess. Bossk swings in for 4. We can open fire. Okay, they can't play Plo Koon. Force throw, okay. Ouch. Okay, they need to do 3 damage here. I would hate it if they have another card like that. Okay, okay. Um, because this would have done 6 damage. I mean, was that the right choice though? Because then we have open fire to kill Quinlan. I don't know. He hasn't used Tarkin Town, so we need to go ahead and ping or attack with the pinged unit. Okay, up to 10. K2SO, sure. We could play Vader as a pilot. Go 14. Okay, sure. 14 to 0. Do we play it as a pilot and hope they don't have Waylay? Take our chances? Or do we play it next turn as a unit? Either way, they're Waylaying it, right? Next turn if they have Waylay. Except next turn we have lethal, because we have 317, or almost lethal. I mean, they're not gonna. If they Plo Koon, then we're getting in for 6 damage. If they Plo Koon first. And if they don't Plo Koon first and they Waylay, then we're getting in for 4 damage. And then we're playing Kylo. Alright, let's just do it. Deathmark, Deathmark. Not my favorite hand at all. But it's not the worst against Kylo. I mean, Quinlan. To replenish our hand, so. We almost don't want a resource here. Oddly. Yeah. So we can play these. Okay. Fleet Lieutenant plus. Okay. Sure. He's gonna make us discard, of course. How did it take 1 damage? Oh, from the Fleet Lieutenant play. Okay. Um, I really don't hope they don't have discard. Do they have anything with ambush? Do we get in for 6? Let's just get in for 6. Ping. Not for 1, I guess. Sets up open fires. Okay. He's at 0 resources, so we're just claiming the initiative. Yeah, the 2 death marks. The Vader pilot for the win. Gotta love that, right? Flawless victory against Quinlan Tarkentown. You know, this deck has just beat 3 of the best decks, so this might be something to check out. Okay, so back for the post-game wrap-up. So this deck performed extremely well. We beat Jango, although that matchup was tough. I mean, Django's just nuts right now. That's Django and Han. We beat Cad Bane pretty handily, and then we destroyed Quinlan Tarkentown. So I feel pretty good about this deck. This is kind of where I clean things up to. The removal felt like the right amount. The death marks felt strong. The reinforcement felt great. Darth Vader felt good. I mean, there was two games there you saw like where Darth Vader put our opponent in an awkward position. Like against Django, they had to deal with it, or else they were going to lose. They ended up just sacrificing their own Django into Darth Vader, which is I don't know if that was the wrong play, but it definitely shows that it was a problem for them because we were going to be really close to closing out the game. And then against Quinlan, we just put the Darth Vader on the Kylo, and fortunately enough, they didn't have a Waylay. That was a little bit of a risky play, but like I said, even if we played it next turn at 6 cost as a unit, we could have still had the Waylay, so it made sense to do it the way we did. And it ended up helping us to win the game. Deathmark feels really important against Han and Quinlan, but the Dangar performed very well. Was very strong at helping us to remove those units. But yeah, overall, I really liked it. Definitely let me know what you guys think and how you would play this, if there's any differences or any cards that you found from playing this deck at all, if you've been playing it, that have felt really good to you. I did consider the Syndola as well as a card. I'm sure you could play that in your main board over a card like Darth Vader if you don't want to play that route, but clearly it worked for me in these games, but I could totally see that someone doesn't want to play that. Syndola is going to help you probably just against like Admiral Piet. I do think that that's probably a somewhat of a tough matchup. Yes, you can get off to some pretty fast starts with Bounty Hunter's Quarry and things, but you and you know Deathmark can help you, but your removal is just not great. And you might want to play Devastators in the sideboard. I think that's still a very strong consideration, and even play more ramp because of that matchup, like a couple resupply and play into Devastator. I think that's probably a strong consideration. Palpatine is good for killing the new Devastator, but the 10-10 and the Avengers, that's not that doesn't feel good. So, but yeah, this deck was awesome. But let me know what you guys think, and as always, y'all have a good one and peace out.